Admitting the stuff now.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Jessica.
We're just waiting for everyone to join, so thank you for your patience.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Raul, is Jen here yet?
I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, great.
Hey, David.
Did we don't, do I need a quorum to start or?
We do not need a quorum to start. I think I'm trying to also go through, we're having problems here at the boardroom, so I'm on the personal laptop, so I can't see everybody yet.
I can tell you who's here so
Eddie,
far, Jen.
huh?
So far, it's Director Angeles, Anyorve, Sutton, and I think Rawlings because of the AI, Firefly
Okay.
AI note taker, Randy.
Okay, what? Let's give them 2 minutes. I'm going to try to log on to the computer here and see if I can get everything up on the screens here. So let's give everybody a couple more minutes to get in, the other directors.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There is nobody else in the waiting room currently as well. I'm monitoring that. So
Thank you.
my pleasure.
Uh, anyway, I'm jumping on the meeting in like 20 years. This one thing was that I had to listen more than I had to.
Oh, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I am
We're hearing you, so just saying hello.
And I just admitted Janess the LBT board account as well.
All right, I'm logging off of this one.
Jen, we're at 1:35 now. Do you want to wait longer or would you like to start?
How many board members do we have? 1, 2, 3.
I think we have 4 in total.
I'm seeing 3, so I'm missing 1.
We're not fully certain if Fireflies.ai note taker Randy is Director Rawlings, but it may be.
Randy, is that you? Because if we have 4, we could get started.
We don't yet then, because it looks like that really is just a note taker.
Oh. Let's give it a minute and see.
No problem.
Although it's a public hearing, I don't think we need to have a quorum. I think we can just get started.
That's
No, we
correct.
don't, we're not taking an action, right? This is an
No.
informational.
Right, so I think we can get started. We don't
Yeah, we
have
don't need I don't think we need a quorum, Ken. You're right.
Okay, wonderful.
so we can get started, Jessica.
Okay, great. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, actually, I'm not able to start until
Yeah,
you.
I have to open the meeting
Yes.
first. So is Jen available? Because she's gonna have to call the roll.
She just joined back in on her personal account. I have admitted her right now.
Okay.
I believe there was a logistical
If she
issue.
acknowledges, then we'll get going here.
All right, we are having problems at the boardroom, so I'm gonna have to stay on my personal laptop, but yes, let's go ahead and get started. David, if you can call the meeting to order.
I'd be glad to. This is a special session of the Board of Directors. Star 2 Focus Group begins at 1:37. So we'll call it to order. And we'll have a roll call from Jen.
All right. Chair Mejia, Vice Chair Sutton,
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Norvey,
I'm here.
Director Almeida, Director Angeles,
Present.
Director Almeida, Director Kemp, Director Rawlings.
Okay, I'm sure some of our directors will be joining soon.
Yes.
We're going to move to item 3, the system-wide transit analysis and reassessment, Star 2, Board of Directors, Focus Group, and Jessica Signorella, sorry if I mispronounced your name, will lead this section. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Sutton, members of the board, Mr. McDonald, and all who are assembled here today. As was mentioned, I'm Jessica Signorella, and I'm the manager of the service planning department within Transit Service Delivery and Planning at Long Beach Transit. Today, we are having a focus group as part of our comprehensive operational analysis called STAR 2. I'm sorry, the screen went dark. With our board of directors. So we'll go to the next slide. So first, for an agenda, we'll do introductions of the project team on the Long Beach Transit side, as well as on the consultant side. We'll then go into a project overview and provide, ending with focus group questions for the board of directors. Next slide. So as I mentioned, I am manager of the service planning department and the lead project manager at Long Beach Transit for this effort. Austin Fung that you see in image and here today is a service development planner and is leading the effort and support. We also have from Transportation Management and Design, Melissa Sather, who is the project manager, and Daniel Pena, deputy project manager, along with Russ Chisholm, our project principal at TMD. In addition, there's also Melissa Holguin and Yvette Jimenez, who are with Ariano Associates and are our outreach consultants. So what is STAR 2? STAR 2 is a 10-year vision for LBT's system that will be based on community feedback and service analysis, building upon the original STAR initiative. It will address changes in population, work patterns, travel behavior, and new developments that have reshaped the demand for transit in Long Beach Transit service area, as well as the greater region since the original STAR initiative. It also will focus on improving service quality to better serve current customers and increase transit's value to the community. Next slide. And here's an overview of Long Beach Transit and the services we operate. There are 38 bus routes in the system, 2 water taxi service types, both Aquabus and Aqualink, and our Dilo Lift paratransit service. There are over 58,000 customers or passenger trips on an average weekday, with ridership in 2024 at about 80% of pre-pandemic ridership levels. With this brief overview, I'll now turn it over to the TMD project manager, Melissa Sather, who will walk through the remainder of the presentation.
Good afternoon. So for our project timeline, we kicked this project off in the beginning of the summer, and over the last 5 months or so, we've been analyzing existing conditions, looking at how riders are using the system, where they're traveling, when they're traveling, and how various routes are performing. Starting in earlier October, we started our first phase of the community outreach, of which these focus groups are sort of the end of that phase. We've been gathering feedback on transit priorities from riders and non-riders via surveys and community meetings. So we'll be taking all of the feedback that we receive at the outreach events, as well as the findings of existing conditions, to help develop our redesigned network scenarios. We'll have 2 scenarios, one talking about what we can do in a cost-neutral environment, reallocating existing resources throughout the service area. And then the second would be what we could do in a unconstrained scenario, developing that ideal transit network. We'll have a second phase of community outreach next spring, sharing those draft proposals. We'll be collecting input on what people like, what people don't like about the plans, and then finalizing the plans based on that community feedback towards the end of the spring, early summer, and then presenting that final plan back to the board in summer of 2026. So as I mentioned, in the month of October and early November, we conducted a series of events and outreach efforts throughout the community. We had an onboard survey where we've collected over 1,500 responses across all of the routes to understand what people's priorities are, what their travel patterns are, and what they'd like to see improved. We had 7 pop-up events where we engaged with over 250 people at college campuses, transit centers, and community centers. We had 1 in-person community meeting, 1 virtual community meeting, and then we've also been collecting feedback through our website, ridelbt.com/star2, where people can leave comments and take a short survey about what they'd like to see improved. On the next slide, we talk a little bit about just some of the high-level takeaways that we've gotten from the feedback. So first, in terms of what's most important to riders, this is frequency of the buses, how often services are operating. We've heard a lot about weekend service, evening service, especially Friday and Saturday nights, buses being on time, and then the hours of a service that those buses are operating. When we look at areas where we've seen the most requests or comments on opportunities for improvement, this is also on frequency of buses and hours of service. So this indicates that these aspects are really important to customers, and it's also the areas where they'd like to see the greatest improvement. Other topics that have come up are ease of transfers to other providers, mainly LA Metro or OCTA, as well as overall travel time. And the graphic on the right is a word cloud of a lot of the comments that we received at the community meetings. You see frequency stands out first and foremost, but other comments like free transfers, connections to CSU Long Beach, OCTA, Long Beach Community College or City College, as well as some express routes to downtown LA or other connections as well. So the goals really for today are to understand priorities for potential transit improvements as we look at these redesigned network scenarios, to really kind of talk about existing challenges that affect mobility within the service area, and then discuss ideas for improving service over the next 10 years. So really what we'd like to do with the majority of the time today is walk through some discussion questions, hear from you about, what you see as kind of are the strengths, the challenges within the system, how you see conditions changing demand or affecting demand for transit over the next 10 years, and really get your input. So as we're developing the network scenarios, we kind of have a sense of a guiding framework for the plan. I see there's a hand raised.
Hi,
Thank you.
just I was the one that had my hand raised.
Yes.
Just quick. I know that you did the sort of surveys, and as well as having a conversation with us. Question for me is there a plan to have a conversation with the city council, either as a whole or as a body, or individuals? The question I have, because often, obviously, the city council members are the actual elected officials for our community, and to get their input on something that we're doing that has a 10-year implication, I think would be something that they would appreciate of have opportunity to have input. I know that in my district 3 for me, my council member is often hitting me up for conversations about, routes and, things that LBT is doing, et cetera, et cetera. And often most council members also have a town hall that they conduct for their district as to reach out to their constituency. It's just an idea. I don't know whether it's on your radar or not. That I think for us as a body, as a public agency, that to involve them, particularly when you have two council city representatives sitting as part of our board, that it's important that we incorporate them for their input as well, citywide. So that question, I guess, and a commentary as it relates to that.
Sure. Well, we hear that and definitely appreciate that feedback. So one thing we can say for now is that our government relations manager does maintain close contact with all city council members and elected officials. There was a focus group that we held for elected officials and government representatives. In addition, we also will be meeting, there's a series of different focus groups where we'll be meeting as well with the local educational institutions and city staff that are both kind of involved in daily planning from the transportation infrastructure side and development side with the city of Long Beach. But I will defer to Mr. McDonald if there's any additional engagement that we will be doing or we can look at.
Part of the thought process is that the city council has a wider net from which to capture constituency group. That their meetings are televised on cable, and so I think just a brief 5 minute saying that we're doing this and that we're evaluating planning stages for Long Beach Transit, I think reaches a greater audience and also a buy-in that when we do make changes or do something, the first I know that the first people that are going to call me is going to be the mayor, the city council, and going to say, "What the hell are you doing, Eddie?" And so I think part of it is to protect us and shield us from that. Is hey, we shared this information with you. We saw an input from you, and we don't. Look, I have a thick skin, so I can take those hits. But I think to buy them in at the inception, I think might be an approach that you might want to consider.
So yes, we did or are reaching out to the city council members. The one thing you mentioned that I don't know that we had planned is where they have these their constituents meeting. Would we go there? But I will look at that. But yes, we have informed them that over this undertaking that we are doing now. But I would get with Marisol about the second part of that, of what you recommended.
Thank you.
Great. So I'll go ahead and jump in. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Olguin, as was mentioned, with Arellano Associates. I'm the Communications and Engagement Manager. Good afternoon, Board of Directors and Executive Leadership. We will be moving into the next portion of this segment and where we're going to make it more interactive with all of you. And so we'll be going through a set of questions, and what you see on the screen now is a mirror board, essentially a virtual sticky board. And so we'll go through a set of series of questions, and then as you are able, if you want to raise your hand, if you'd like to unmute, if you'd like to put it in the chat. But we want to do is be able to share some responses as we go through these, and then we'll be documenting those and taking those notes for our purposes to share with the consultant team and as we go through this rest of this process. So if we want to go ahead, I'll go ahead and start with the first question. So from your perspective, what should be the top priorities guiding Long Beach Transit's future service? And we put out here some categories. So geographic coverage, financial, sustainability, or customer experience, or something else that you would like to add that we haven't included here. And again, feel free to unmute, raise your virtual hand, put it in the chat.
Hey, Melissa, so we don't have to actually type into the box?
No, so we will do that for you. If you
Okay,
want to
okay,
just go
all
ahead with
right.
your comment and we'll
Okay.
note it on here and then you'll see it on the screen. Make sure we're capturing it correctly. If there's anything you want to clarify or add to your comment, please do that as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course. Please go ahead, Director Honorable. Any thoughts? Did you have an additional comment or were you just clarifying that?
No, I was just clarifying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to give us your thoughts then. I think you're saying here on sustainability, what would that be? Any thoughts more specific?
Yeah. 1 second, please.
Of course.
Sorry, I'm using an iPad and I'm not used to entering stuff. Yeah, I think in terms of the sustainability part, I think as we move forward, there's an increase or rising pressure, especially from, well, more from the public, I think, and also the government, to have greener transit options, not just to cut down on emissions, but also to provide to promote equity. I think the as we move forward in time, you said 5 to 10 years. I think the autonomous vehicles are becoming very popular. I believe one of them is now on the freeways. So I would imagine that might include electric micro transit in the future, and more on-demand responsive services. So I'm getting around the idea of equity. And as I look through, and I'll just throw this out right now, as I look through your presentation, I didn't see anything at all about the impacts of equity and title what is it 6 or any FTA rules. So I think as we move forward, it's really understanding the underserved communities and the neighborhoods, and having those neighborhoods have greater access and easier access to public transportation.
Excellent, thank you. And Eric, can I ask you to zoom in a little bit as you're taking these individual notes? And I'll just share too, I wanted to share that we're going through this process of the focus groups, and we have had 2 so far in this series. So we've met with the government and advisory bodies, and then with the business and economic organizations, and we still have more to come after that. And one of those will also include the community and social equity organizations, kind of to your point, Director, on really hearing about equity as a priority. Then we'll be also be meeting with the transit agency operators and accessibility and mobility advocates, as well as your LBT operators and supervisors. So I just want to share that we're going to be gathering those direct feedbacks in a similar way.
And
Good.
I wanted
I
to.
look forward.
Oh,
I
sorry.
look forward to hearing more on that as we move forward. In terms of, I'm sorry, Jessica, did you want to say something?
Oh, yes. Melissa Sather referenced that we're doing existing conditions. So we look closely at all of the groups that you identified. Low income minority populations, those where there's no car in their household, or we call it zero vehicle household. So there is an in-depth analysis outside of even the focus groups where we're making
Okay.
sure that we identify those groups and their needs to better enhance the system for them.
Okay, and I also want to, in the equity, I also want to include ADA accessibility. In terms of geographic, I think again as we move forward, transit will be changing, and cities will begin to start looking at transit in a different way, and as a result, may rethink like zoning, land use issues, and infrastructure. So that's what I would add to the geographic coverage. Um, I like some, and you guys highlighted it a little bit when you guys did the surveys about better connections and late night service. I know sometimes when folks are coming from LA Live and they hit Artesia, Del Amo, Willow, or Wardlow, there's no sometimes there may not be an LBT connection taking them further into like the downtown or even on the east side. So I think again, in terms of coverage, that'd be something to consider. And also moving forward with the World Cup and the Olympics, etc., I think we should keep an eye on our coverage as well, with our partners with OCT and Metro as well. That's what I would add to the geographic coverage. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Director Yorvin. And I would welcome Chair Mejia. Would you be interested in unmuting and talking a
Yeah,
little bit more? I know you listed your preference for customer experience. Please go ahead.
absolutely. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm at the airport. Just wanted to add about customer experience. That ability to have, of course, operators that are friendly, which is something that we do right now. That's one thing that focus on the experience, having clean buses, having safety be a priority. And also I agree with Vice Chair Sutton about, bus coverage, right? I think also how we maintain our bus stops, making sure that they're not only clean, but that they have coverage, somewhere to sit while they wait for the bus. So that's all I have for now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Great. And I do see, Vice Chair Sutton, you've added your comments into the chat, so I can go ahead and read those for the benefit of the group and making sure that we have it recorded in the transcription. Unless you would want to come up.
No,
unmute.
that's fine. I'm interested in efficiency and
Okay. No worries. I'll just
So-
read through them. Your first priority is customer experience, making sure that we are serving our customers with core service and bus shelters. Number two, competing for the choice rider, looking at large volume corridors and promoting those. Perhaps increasing frequency so customers see that they can take the bus and it will be a similar ride in time as it will be similar to riding in a time taken in a car, and then making sure that we feed long range commute choices like Norwalk, Metrolink Station, and Metro Rail. And then ensuring financial stability and sustainability is the next category. So watching revenue, considering a high base fare and include free transfers, adding value combined with a minor increase in fares, and working closely with the city to ensure that we are not spending grant money just to move a few people. Grant money should be focused on serving large populations to enhance their communities. And last comment here is meaningful service for game attendees that encourage them to leave their car at home. This could be walking corridors, bike corridors, and transit corridors linking to rail and Metrolink stations. So thank you so much, Vice Chair Sutton. I think if there's no other comments on this,
This is
yes, please,
Angeles. I mean, the only thing that I would add is the financial piece. I think my colleagues have articulated that you have enough to consider, but everyone always talks about in transit this fiscal cliff, and I know that up in the Bay Area, there's some initiatives. It's really the financial longevity and sustainability when you're talking about a 10-year plan that you can't run any sort of transit system unless you can fund it. And so making sure that that is secure as it relates to future operations, whether it's, federal funding. I know that there's a lot of angst right now about FTA and funding coming from the federal government. So I think being able to sustain ourselves, and I think it was already mentioned about potential fare increases or other sources of income to keep the services at the same level that we have them today.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Director Kemp, if you want to go ahead and unmute and provide your comment. And then do you want us to zoom in or out? Just want to make sure. Did you want us to categories?
No, we could. It sounds like we're about ready to move on, and I echo the comments of my colleagues, so it's fine. I just wanted to kind of offer an additional note on the financial piece. I think that what we're seeing and what we're going to see is an increased conversation about how to reduce fares as the wage gap widens. And so while I do agree that we need to find ways to be sustainable, I want to include in the conversation ways to, in fact, perhaps reduce fares for our riders who are suffering from that widening wage gap.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Director Kemp. Any other comments? Melissa Sather, did you want to add anything, or should we go ahead and move on to the next question?
No, I think that's really great feedback.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So we'll go on to our next category of questions. Sorry, Eric, I know you're typing away over there. Great, thank you so much. Okay, so the next category is looking at strengths, and the next portion we'll look at challenges. So right now we want to focus on what do you see as Long Beach Transit's greatest strengths in delivering reliable, efficient, and equitable service?
I'll articulate for the strength. Really, it's our service. I think the service from which we provide, the infrastructure of that service in terms of clean buses, great professionalism by our drivers, all of those things. I think when you have a very positive experience of running our buses, I've not ridden a bus that's been not maintained, not clean, not full of challenges in terms of graffiti's or anything like that. Every experience I've always had has always been very positive, impressive, and the service has been excellent.
Great, thank you so much, Director Angeles. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll chime in. I would sort of echo that. I think that the people make this organization great, especially to those 3 points. And I think that the specific people are the maintenance and the mechanics and the drivers and the line staff that are the lifeblood of the organization. And when people interface with them, whether they're on the bus or I've seen people in uniform, engaging with people in the public. I think they represent the organization well, and they are key to, giving us high brand quality recognition.
Excellent. Thank you, Director.
I'll jump in. I'd like to echo what Director Angela said. I agree 100% with what he said. But just to add on a little bit more, I think LBT already does a great job in moving a large number of people at once. I think LBT is reliable. I think, and when the movement of vehicles is timely and reliable, it improves for everybody. efficiency. Um, one vehicle, one bus that serves and maximizes that serves a lot of riders will maximize output. And again, I'll go back to equity and universal access, regardless of income or neighborhood. I think LBT also does a great job of that. I would like to see more routes, and I would like to see um, more stops. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Director Nervin. And Vice Chair Sutton, I will read out your comment so we have it on the record as well. Comment is buses are always clean, operators are friendly, customers always say thank you as they leave the bus, and this demonstrates a high satisfaction with the service center. So thank you for that comment. Any other feedback before we get to the challenges?
If I can chime in quickly,
Yes.
I should have said this when I was reviewing the feedback from the community outreach, but what we really heard a lot from riders was that they love the service. So I mean, they said we love the service. It's great. A lot were sort of reticent to take the survey. They're like, no, don't change anything. Like we heard so many good things about the service that's out there, about the operators. So echoing everything you've said, I think really, we do similar studies all over the country, very different places. And I think here more than other places I've worked, there's a really strong satisfaction with the service. So I think that's something really important to highlight.
Can I just add to really echo Director Kemp's observation? I think our leadership is often underestimated and unrecognized with respect to the excellent leadership that can be recognized nationally by all the transit is speaks volumes, and as well as obviously all the deputies and execs that work for Ken. Having participated in the California Transit conference. I mean, just the people that were there and all the volunteers and all the leadership that were present. We have a kick-ass staff. I mean, we have a kick-ass, I don't know if you can say that. I'm sorry. Apologize for the profanity, but I think, kudos to the leadership of the organization.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely congratulations to Mr. McDonald on that AP APTA award. Very, very exciting news. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and move on then. Let's go on to our next category. And so we'll talk a little bit more now on the flip side of things, on the challenges. So what do you see as Long Beach Transit's biggest challenges in meeting the same goals?
I'll jump in.
Please.
Something that was mentioned, I think it was Vice Chair Sutton, funding instability is something of concern moving forward. A lot of the times it depends on the government and the administrations that are currently in power. So I see funding instability as a big one. I think aging infrastructure and maintenance backlogs. I don't think LBT has many challenges in that area, but it could in the future have that problem. Traffic, congestion, and the lack of priority lanes. I think we just have our first priority lane. I don't know if you want to call it that, but there's a lane dedicated just for LBT at CSULB. I think that's the only one, and it would be great to have more of those priority lanes. And again, I'm going to go back to equity and access barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nervin. Appreciate that. Any other comments?
Pfizer challenging policy mandates that are not feasible and doesn't take into account local community uniqueness. So then often there are policies that are enforced upon LBT that are misaligned with the needs of, our mission and vision, and as well as our community needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Angeles. Any other comments before we move on? Okay. Melissa, did you want to add anything else, or are you ready to keep going?
I think there's a comment from Director Sutton in the
Oh, okay. Got it.
chat.
Yes, sorry about that. Thank you. So the comment is financial cliff approaching, cost of transition of buses from CNG to electric, and then retirement costs and staffing. Right.
Yeah, and I didn't have anything further.
Great. All right, well, that will keep us moving on to the next category. So the question now is, what unmet mobility needs or expectations should STAR to address?
Yeah, I think we heard a little bit about equity and access barriers. So if there are any particular barriers, or if those geographic or time of day, certain locations, or just general access to transit, financial barriers. Thinking on them. Yeah, unmet needs.
Are you, I'm sorry, are you asking me to expand, elaborate
No, I was just
oh,
elaborating on what an unmet, unmet mobility. Yeah,
got it.
just
Okay.
providing some.
Yeah, just the challenges that have been shared. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you had thoughts, or if there's, I think if there's ideas for services to new places, or anything that's unmet right now, either places people want to go, times of day people want to travel, that you think should be addressed in this study.
Yeah, to be a little bit more specific about the barriers, I think we may see paratransit demand increase moving forward. I think sometimes our fare systems that are in place can unintentionally burden low-income riders. And I still think historically unserved neighborhoods and communities may continue to face infrequent or indirect service.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and also,
Please
can I
go ahead.
add something?
Of course, please.
I just in the paperwork that you shared with us, I didn't see anything about our water service fleet and dial-a-lift in terms of addressing those specific other transportation components of LBT. Is that something that'll come along further as we move further along, or because I think they should be considered as we're having these conversations?
Yes, analysis of both the water taxi services and the dial-a-lift service is included in both our review of existing conditions and as part of our service plan.
Okay.
I would also like to add, if you feel there are any unmet needs or gaps as it relates to those services, you are more than welcome to share them.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to add any thoughts here? Okay, I will go ahead and read Vice Chair Sutton's comment here.
Melissa, could you maybe
Yes.
just for all of the directors reiterate the question? Just
of course.
sometimes they can't see it.
Of course, yes. So what unmet mobility needs or expectations should STAR to address? Yeah, sorry, we have to kind of zoom in and out as we're taking the notes. So just let us know if you need to see that again. Okay, and then the comment in the chat is people that don't take the bus may be concerned that a bus will arrive at a stop. So I need a clear understanding and communication as to the next bus and where it goes so customers can travel without planning a trip at home. Communicating fares and how to get around are key. And then frequency is such a stickler. That's definitely one of the highest comments we've heard so far. It costs so much to add service, yet it's an increased frequency, so important for first-time riders and riders of choice. Waiting 30 minutes for a bus is just too long in most cases. Great, thank you, Vice Chair Sutton. We have noted that.
The only comment that I would make that's added to that is just, we have a lot of workers that take our services, and often in terms of hours, either very early or late night coming off of late shifts. Some of our services don't necessarily meet their needs in terms of work schedules. So just taking that into account that, we have a lot of folks, certainly in various areas of our community that have, work in food service or what have you, that have late nights, that are getting off, or start early morning. That would be my only comment.
I appreciate that. And I think Melissa say that you can chime in. I know that that was one of the bigger things that we had, and we asked during the pop-ups and community meetings about the time of, when it would be more convenient to add in either later PM weekday services or later PM weekend service with that in mind. But Melissa, would you add anything else?
No, I would just say it definitely came up a lot. Need for later evening service.
Can I jump in and add something else? I think another unmet need as we move forward, and this has been discussed a lot at our board meetings, is safe and comfortable waiting spots for the community, whether that's better lighting, benches, some visible presence of security. Sometimes it could be dark at 12 midnight and you're waiting for the bus. Shade during the summer and in the fall. And it's just going to get worse as we move forward. And another thing I would add is faster travel times. I know cities do not want to give away roads or road space, but I think if we can continue to work with the county and the city to relocate road space, that would be great. I guess that goes back to kind of the priority lane, but I see those as something that hopefully this process can address.
Yeah, if I could, I apologize. I'm driving, so I'm not able to raise my hand. But I want to just echo the need for shade and shelter and seating. A lot of the folks I think who utilize our services are some of the more vulnerable people in our community, and it, there are a lot of folks who are out there suffering in the sun and rain. So I think that's a comment I really want to emphasize.
Absolutely. Thank you, Director Kemp. Okay, anyone else? We have just a few more questions to go through, so make sure we capture everyone's feedback. Okay, if we want to keep going, then we'll go ahead on to the next question. So the question is, what compromises or trade-offs are acceptable from the board's perspective to elevate system performance? So we have some categories outlined here as well. Is it frequency? Is it span of service, reliability, new service areas, or something else that we haven't listed here already?
Yeah, I think just before we start answering, at the beginning we talked about kind of what was important to prioritize. And I think this, especially when we're looking at that cost neutral scenario, is we know we want to make service improvements. We know there's been requests for more frequency, more late night service. In a cost neutral scenario, of course, we have to figure out how we do that. And so understanding here what compromises, are we willing to make in order to afford some of those service improvements, longer longer walking distances to transit, less service in certain parts of the service area, kind of whatever some of those trade-offs compromises might be, or just what for you is absolutely critical to maintain and should be preserved as part of those redesigns.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. And I'll just mention that it kind of goes hand in hand with our next question is going to talk about service areas or types where we should invest more as an agency. So I think thinking about the trade-offs, and then in the next question, we'll think about where should the investments be prioritized.
I'll start. I'll start by saying, basically, for me, to me, it always makes sense to not start service you can't pay for. So, looking at the compromises of new services, if we do what we indicated before, we do things and we do it right as we have it today. So, expanding and over expanding in terms of our services to then at the behest or sacrifice of other services, I think to me is um, as you say, a priority. I wouldn't start anything unless we can sustain it.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Director Angelos. Any other thoughts on trade-offs?
Can I jump in?
Please.
One that comes up for me a lot in my personal experience writing LBT is more direct or straighter in quotes end-to-end travel and faster routes versus, so the trade-off would be fewer deviations into smaller neighborhoods. Or yeah, and I'll give you an example. Line 71 northbound deviates in a very odd, makes a left on Anaheim, goes up Atlantic, makes a right, I think it's New York, a small street. It's a neighborhood street. Makes a right on New York Avenue or street, and then it goes back to Orange. To me, that deviation is a waste of time. There's not a great distance between Orange and Atlantic where folks can walk, and most of the folks in that area are from the high school. So that to me, I would have people look at that route. To me, that could be just straight Orange and not deviate. Another thing that I thought of is just to increase frequency on high ridership corridors. And the trade-off would be to reduce or restructure uh, low mobility or low moving routes.
Excellent. Thank you. Melissa, do you need any clarification on this, or are you good with this? Okay.
Nope.
Great. Thank you.
I did want to say briefly, Secretary and Treasurer Onyorvi, we hear you loud and clear on that route. There's an operational limitation in terms of a crosswalk and making sure senior centers correctly served. So it is something we're working on long term with the city, but appreciate
and and we've talked about it before. Thank you.
We have it on the record. Okay, great. Any other thoughts on trade-offs? We'll start to focus on the next question if there's nothing else in this category. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about trade-offs. Now we want to talk about service areas or types of service where there should be higher investment or less investment from Long Beach Transit. Where would that investment priority be? Any thoughts on this?
Right off the top of my head, I think having expanding the water fleet in some capacity. I understand that when it's 60 degrees and it's cloudy, folks don't like the water taxi, but I think that's one of the services that really highlights LBT. And if somehow we could do something different, maybe go down close to Seal Beach, maybe I don't know. It's just something that's up in my head. Also, I lived in downtown Long Beach for about 8 years, and I would love to see the passport. Um, I don't know, serve the downtown area a lot better than it does. And I know that, I mean, just on social media, I've seen folks ask about the passport. I wish it did this, I wish it did that, and I wish it did this. I think if we can learn what the needs are of the residents in the downtown area and also the business community, that would be great.
Excellent, thank you. And I'll share, Melissa Saylor, you can jump in. I wanted to just share that one of the feedbacks was relevant to this comment and also, the strong support for routes to new places and those connections to the destinations, if that were really important from what we've heard so far through our community meetings and the pop-up events that we've been, so that really resonates with what we've been hearing from the community.
I'd like to echo Director Inorbe's comments. All good, and also I also support express service. I think that's so important in a big city like Long Beach, and also the passport idea of expanding that is great. Um, we should ensure that all tourist destinations are served so that people just say, oh, you don't need a car in Long Beach. I can land at the airport and I can get around just fine.
Right.
That should be the comment we're hearing from people that visit. And so to make that happen, you've got to connect with Belmont Shore and downtown and Bixby Knolls and some of and the Douglas Center. Um, so that people feel like, hey, I can just step out of my hotel, get on a bus, and go. So important for the games coming up. And maybe there's an opportunity to pilot some things during the games that we wouldn't normally do because of the amount of people that will be here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if this is a trade-off question, but I just wonder if for those, hubs that Director Sutton just described, have we ever or do we currently have financial partnerships wherein they make a contribution to Long Beach Transit that helps sustain that service that ultimately benefits their membership, like DLBA or Bixby Knolls Improvement?
Jessica, did you want to respond?
I can't directly confirm that.
Mhm.
I believe there are certain partnerships, but I don't have details personally on the financial contributions, but I know that that's something that Mr. McDonald could probably get back to you on.
So I was not going to answer questions today, but I would make a statement to that. We contribute to the DLBA, so I don't know how they would in that case. No, we don't have any contribution from like Bixby Knolls, but these improvement districts, we pay the taxes for them to survive. So instead, we could just. I don't see them bringing back money to us when we are the ones who keep them up. A lot of it, like most of the improvement district, because we have properties all over the place, we pay into these to keep them alive. So, but we can, after we get all these questions, if we wanted to discuss some of these, I'd be willing to. But today I was hoping to get the board's input and not become a question and answer, if that helps you, or why I'm not saying anything.
To piggyback off of Vice Chair Sutton's comment, having free service from key areas. We some of us just came back from Boston from the APTA, and what was wonderful, and a lot of cities have this, but Boston, the distance between the airport and Boston Convention Center is not that far, and they offer a free bus service from the airport to the convention center, and they offer free service from the convention center back to Boston Airport. We're a large city, but it's still small enough to have service from the airport maybe into downtown or make two stops, like Sutton suggested, maybe Belmont Shore and then to the downtown area, or maybe just to the convention center area. That would be really nice to see. And yes, we are hosting some of the biggest events coming in the next 5 years, and it would be nice, again, like Sutton said, to have something like that, maybe pilot it. But that would be wonderful. Many other cities have free service or low cost service from the airport into the downtown area. It would be nice for LBT to have something like that. I know there's bus service, but it's a regular service that stops at every corner. But I'm talking about direct route from the airport to the convention center and vice versa.
Well, thank you so much. Anyone else? Chair Mahia, I saw you turn on your video, so just want to make sure if you wanted to say anything else and add to this.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I think I echo what my colleagues have said, especially when it comes to the passport. I know I've brought this up a couple of times as well. I think it's a great service, right? But and it it's a great service. However, I think there is a need for reassessing um, how well it's doing. Do we need to improve? Like, do we need to expand it? Is there other areas that we're missing? The Creamery is fully functional now with
Yeah.
going to events.
And we also have the amphitheater coming
Yeah.
up too.
We have the amphitheater. Like, there's a lot of attractions that are coming up, right? Like, we talked about the games, but also FIFA, right? And I know I saw on the little word bubble, like Hollywood Bowl, right? Like, how are we connecting to other parts of the county?
Yeah.
So that's my feedback.
And Melissa, there was a comment from Director Sutton in the chat. I just placed over to the left of where I'm currently typing.
Great, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Thank you, Chair Mahia. That's excellent. And again, I'll just share that was a lot of what we heard at one of the public meetings too, just those timing those key connections between these destinations. We heard about even like the entertainment in terms of the restaurants and local bars, and lining that up with your late night service to make sure that people have a way to get home once they're at these different destinations. So that I think resonates with those few comments that were just shared. Thank you so much. And I'll go ahead and read the comment here in the chat from Vice Chair Sutton. So perhaps we can look at working with local parking concerns. Parking should be high, so it is an incentive to take the bus instead. Perhaps a surcharge that would help support transit, much like the express lanes support transit. Okay, any other comments? That is actually our last question in this segment. So
I
any
have
other
one more that I want to
thoughts?
emphasize,
Yes,
and that
please.
is Director Norve's comment about water taxi service. You know, Long Beach is the first water taxi in Southern California, I believe. I don't think that San Diego is doing it. And, you know, Metro is considering doing water taxis from San Pedro to Long Beach and for the games. And yesterday, in Supervisor Hahn's comments at committee, she said that she'd like to see water taxi service and, you know, going down to Newport Beach, Seal Beach,
Yeah.
all of that. And so this is going to become a way of travel, whether it comes now or later, it will come at some point because of the density of housing and traffic. And so Long Beach really has an opportunity to be the leader here in this area, and an expanded route just makes sense to pick up Seal Beach as well. If that's even possible. I don't know what the capital costs would be in constructing a pier and all that good stuff, but you know, it's just something to think about and ponder and work with the city on. And if Metro's considering it for San Pedro, you know, why shouldn't they consider it for Seal Beach as well? Some kind of expansion. I think we need to say me too in this effort that's going on right now.
Here's
Yeah.
here's a trip for Ken. Ken, I was just in Brisbane, Australia, and their water taxi system there in that little city in Australia is unbelievable. So there's a little opportunity for you to go and check it out, Ken.
Research.
Research, right.
Excellent. Any other comments? Any other feedback here?
Can we, if we think of something else after the meeting, can we email it to you? Is that okay?
Yes, Jessica, would you want that to come to you? What do you want to?
I think probably the easiest for you all is if you send it, it can come to me or to Janice, whatever you all prefer.
Okay.
Additionally, it will be an end slide, but there is a link to the project page where there's also an interactive map that you can drop comments down to the
Okay.
stop level, just giving that a plug in case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, with that note, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. We've documented all of that, and we're going to summarize it, share it with the team. I will hand it back now to Melissa Sather on that note to share the next steps. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, thank you so much for all of your great input and feedback. So in terms of what's next, feel free to take a look at the project website, ridelbt.com/star2. If you know anyone or have any distribution lists, you think anyone would be interested in taking any of the short surveys online or leaving comments, please do share the website information. You can also encourage, or you can yourselves sign up for project email updates. We'll have a couple throughout the project. And then look out for updates as we move into developing those draft network scenarios into 2026. So I think, and then as Jessica mentioned, the website has an interactive map where people can drop comments as well as a short survey to talk about their travel patterns as well as priorities for transit improvements. And I think we'll have that survey, we'll be collecting public comments probably through about when we wrap our focus groups. We haven't set an end date, but probably middle of December.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Melissa?
Yes.
Will the board be shown, will the trade-offs that are being considered, will they be illustrated with scenarios or modeled?
So
Let me try to
really,
once we get where we begin to make design of what we would do, what we've done in the past is have another session with the board about some of the plans that we have before we start cementing them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
First stage has always been we get with the board and we get feedback like we did today. Once we get the public and we get to the next step, and we get to that point of draft design, we talk to the board and the public about it, and then we go to cementing it. So you have a second opportunity. There will be a second meeting sort of like this to go on where we are in the design or the recommendations that comes from the consultant, and then we will look at how we cement like we did the first time. We did.
Got it. Thank you.
Vice Chair Sutton?
Yeah, thanks. I want to echo a remark that Director Angeles made about the political side of things, which really I didn't see much an opportunity here really to address, and that is, how does government work in Long Beach, and what projects are financed and what projects are not, and how much say does Long Beach Transit have in all of that great mobility design that goes on here? And I think it's so important that the city council and the city manager's office and planning and programming for the city and Long Beach Transit work hand in hand together on the future of mobility for the city, so that it's not some one entity's idea of, oh, this is the best project ahead, and then we'll let everybody else know when we get close to launch. So I am very concerned that with the flow of money and the way it happens here, that things can be have the appearance, let me put it that way, of being disjointed and not planned with everybody in the room. That may not be what's happening, but that's my perception. So I I um I think that area needs to be addressed in some way, either it's a workshop or something that we can all agree and we can all develop a 10-year plan together.
So I wanna make clear that that happens with the Long Beach Transit and the city. Every quarter, we have a meeting with myself. It involved a lot of other people and with the city leadership, the deputy city manager. We don't always have the city manager, but we go over in terms of the top priority projects that we have, top priority projects in the city. There are some things that the city do that we just step out of. Like you have this, and I think that might be one of the idea, the golf cart that is running around the city. Yes, we knew the city was doing that and we stepped off of it. But yes, we have regular meetings every quarter, and as necessary, I have direct contact with the city manager and deputy city manager. So I don't want to give that we don't have that coordination. We do coordinate a lot about what's going on in the city when it comes to things that affect us. Now, we don't always get our way, like some of the diets that are going on in the city. I would wish that we wouldn't do some of them, but we do know when they're coming. The street diets that you see happening a lot, that shrink, and I think there are many users outside of us, but yes, we do have a regular contact. This has been going on for for a while now in terms of us having contact with the city. Now, in terms of money, that's a different thing. We can talk some other time, but in terms of coordination, we do have that.
And I do want to chime in. I agree with my colleagues, right? I think one thing that is new that I'm not sure that a lot of us are aware that there's actually a committee, a transportation committee, where I have seen Marisol go and present. And I think it's 3 council members that are on there. And they just discuss transportation and any transportation related projects. So just wanted to echo that. But I think there's always room for better partnerships, right? Especially with our cities. And it's not just the city of Long Beach, right? We have city of Paramount, Carson. So I also want to echo that although we are Long Beach Transit, we also serve other cities and making sure that those cities also get that information and their council members.
Great. So anything else, any other comments? I think we need to check, I guess, Jen, I'll ask you at this point if there are any members of the public for comment.
That's correct. At this time, we'll ask for public comment. Is there anyone from the public before I read this admonition that wants to speak? Jen, do we have any callers?
You're on mute, Jen. You're answering.
I don't see anybody.
Okay, well, Chair Mejia, do you want to close us out?
Gary, sorry, you're on mute, Chairman here.
Oh my goodness. If you can close it out, I would appreciate it. I'm on my phone and I can't.
Okay.
Document.
All right. Well, I don't want you reading a script when we can't. So, okay. Well, anyway, thank you so much for this opportunity. I think you got a lot of great feedback from the board, and we look forward to hearing your quarterly reports or your frequent reports back as to your progress. I think this is plan for the next 10 years. You know, it's one thing to plan, and then we all have to roll up our sleeves and figure out how we're going to get there and find the money for it. So I thought this was very valuable, and as you can tell, the number of board members that showed up for this is a demonstration of how important this is. So thank you all members for coming to the meeting today. I'm going to adjourn now. The next regular meeting will be held on December 4th. So if I could have a motion to approve that.
So moved, Añorve.
Second.
Awesome. Okay, so so we'll call for a vote to adjourn. All right, Jen's having a little trouble, so all those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no opposition, we will close the meeting.
And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh.